Speaking of feminist garbage and not respecting the source material or not being a fan of the source material, do we want to talk about Narnia?
They have to be
Yeah,
black.
it can't just be
They
one.
have to be gay. They have to have purple hair.
I'm not against race swapping characters.
Welcome, guys, to the Young Patriots podcast. I'm your host, Devin Romero. I'm with our co-host, Ada MacArthur. And we've got a special surprise guest here today. His name is Lincoln Hickman. The reason he is a surprise guest is because he's actually one of our crew members. So round of applause for Lincoln Hickman. He is our editor, and also he works with production. So he is the guy behind the scenes, making sure that all of our videos are sounding good and taking care of all the hiccups and stuff like that. So he's backbone of our podcast team, honestly, along with our social media specialist. So let's go ahead and just give you an opportunity to introduce yourself, Lincoln. Where are you from, and what's your background?
Yeah, my name's Lincoln Hickman. I'm from California, Central Valley area. More background about myself. All right, yeah, I'm studying video production right now. I've always been in love with like movies and telling stories and whatnot. I'm also, as like a hobby, I'm a writer on the side. I don't know. I'm just really interested in all of the production aspect of it, which is why I'm behind the camera instead of in front of it most of the time. But I'm also a huge nerd. Love fiction, like all the like Star Wars, Harry Potter, Marvel, all that.
AKA, he's really fun to talk to. He's very knowledgeable about that stuff.
To be fair, if someone doesn't like Star Wars, they're the nerd.
I know. I have a friend who says, well, he didn't say he didn't like it, but he said he just didn't get it. Like he's like it's all right, but I don't get the hype.
Well, if he saw the last three movies, I get it.
He watched them all. I think he watched them in release order
order.
Yeah. So he watched the original trilogy, then he watched the prequels.
Okay.
And then he watched the sequels,
which is a good way to do it.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like you get spoilers about who Darth Vader is and stuff too early and whatnot. So.
Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah, Star Trek for me is just I don't get it.
Did you say Star Trek?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, did you mean to say Star Wars?
No.
Oh, thank goodness.
Why did you say Star Trek?
I was saying, well, just like what your friend was saying, that it just goes over his head with Star Wars. I'm like, yeah, Star Trek for me just goes over my head.
I thought you were just mistaking Star Wars for Star Trek, and I was
so
disappointed in you.
No, I love Star Wars. Don't even misunderstand my camp.
I got to get into Star Trek, and I think my dad has tried to get me into it, and I just haven't.
Yeah.
So that's on me.
I've given it a shot a couple of times. I don't know if I've really dedicated time to it before, but I've watched a couple episodes of a couple of their different shows. There's just so much though.
So what we're going to get into is you wanted to discuss how some of these different productions have been changing the storylines. And let's talk about some of that controversy. Some people have loved it. Some people have not so much. What's your take?
So when it comes to, I think like specifically adaptations, I'm not against them changing things per se, or specifically, I like when they add things, as long as it builds upon what's already there. Like I think a good example is A Series of Unfortunate Events. They had the books, which I loved, and then I watched the Netflix TV show, and it was very true to the books, but they also added a lot more of the mystery into specifically the earlier seasons, because it sort of fades in as you progress through the books, and it was there from the start, which I liked. But then there's other things that they do where it's just like, it feels like they're changing things for an agenda, or for, I don't know, just for stupid reasons that don't improve the story in any way. And when it gets to that point, I'm just like, I don't know, it bothers me.
What are some examples? Maybe of good and bad.
Of good? So specifically, one of the things I wanted to talk about was like race swapping characters, which I think can work in some instances, and I think it also doesn't work in other instances. And I think there's a lot that really can determine that. For example, they announced recently that the new Professor Snape is going to be black. Yeah, for the new Harry Potter TV show. If you didn't know, they're making a Harry Potter TV show.
TV show?
Yes, and their whole thing was, oh, we're going to make a TV show. That way we can have more time and be more faithful to the books. The first piece of news that comes out, guess what? Snape is black.
That doesn't mean it's going to be bad, though. They could get...
I have a lot of reasons why Snape being black does not work.
I've got two people that would be an amazing Snape. Kevin Hart and Eddie Murphy.
Kevin Hart's too lighthearted, I feel like.
Too lighthearted?
Maybe.
Exactly. Let's just make Snape a meme, bro.
I don't know about Eddie Murphy. I could maybe see Kevin Hart, but if you're doing Kevin Hart, you're going to make
I'm not saying to play a good Snape. I'm
Yeah.
saying to make it funny, bro.
Well,
To make it
yeah.
sick.
If you want to play it as a joke, yeah.
They should make it a
I'm
joke.
down for that.
If they're going to be that crazy, why not just make it a joke?
But if you're taking it seriously and you're wanting to faithfully adapt the story, you can't be changing stuff like
Well,
that.
it's funny because Snape, I don't know. I have not read the books, so I can't really speak too much on that aspect. But he's very nasally in how he talks, and I don't really see that as like that's more of like what would that derive from? I see that as more of a European thing, like certain European nations having a very nasally language, where that's not the case.
Yeah.
I can't really see a black guy having that, and maybe that's not an element of his character, and it's just something that happened with the original.
It's just something. So when Alan Rickman took the role of Snape,
Shout out.
I don't think anyone could ever top him.
he did a really good job, but he also made it his own, and he did it in such a way that like anything else is like if you're gonna change it at all, it's going to be really hard because he did such a great job with it.
Yeah.
So
I'm not a Harry Potter fan, and he is a highlight in my memory.
So if you
as a
make
unique
if you make
character.
a really significant change, then it has to be validated in some way. Like it has to really improve the story, which I don't think this is gonna.
Which is why you have a problem with it.
Yeah, I have it's probably the biggest example of race swapping that I have a problem with. Like there are things in the past of like you know when they made Ariel black.
I was gonna say
Like that doesn't really. Maybe it's because I'm not a huge Disney princess fan. It didn't bother me as much. I thought it was kind of annoying that they were just doing the DEI thing where they just race swap somebody. But when it comes to Snape and like specifically like the Harry Potter series, which is something I'm really passionate about, and they're changing it in a way that I think the creators think is really subtle, but really has really bad implications for the universe if you really think about it and go deeper into it.
What does that mean?
really subtle.
Well, that's just a joke.
So I think
They're not a joke as in ha ha, but I'm saying what a ridiculous thing that they think.
There's two ways they're gonna play it. One is they just don't mention it at all. It's just he's black. They're not gonna talk about it.
Right, which is subtle.
Which is just
Which would be nice.
which is the best way for them to do it.
Yeah.
If they do it at all. Which they are. They already casted him. It's confirmed. The other thing that they could do is lean into him being black and play it for a race card kind of thing, in which case it messes with some of the characters.
It will not work if they try to make it really explicit and really
It'll work, but it will be way different than in the books. So Severus Snape, his character is especially in his teenage years, he was like an outcast, a bully. I mean, not a bully. I mean, he was a bully, but he was also bullied.
Okay.
He was an outcast, a loner. He was bullied all the time, especially by Harry's dad, James Potter.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, but that was because Snape. I think it was partially because Snape was like he wasn't a great kid, and he would like pick on other people. So James also picked on him. I'm not saying it's a good thing that James bullied him. I still think it's wrong whether he's white or black. But you make him black, then it seems like they're just bullying that one black kid in school.
I think that's why they did it.
I think so
Just
too. But then it also like, and this is kind of a joke, but like imagine you're watching Harry Potter, right? The first one where they think Snape is the bad guy or whatever. Harry Potter's suspicious of the black teacher. He's like, that one black teacher, he's really suspicious. He's practicing the dark arts. It's like
I see what you're saying now.
Yeah,
it causes
it creates more implications within the world that if they hadn't casted him as a black person, wouldn't have even been thought about.
Yeah.
They're trying to make a reality when it's not real. That doesn't make sense, but that doesn't happen. We don't look at a black person.
They're making it so Snape is judged based off of his skin color rather than his
which
character.
is ridiculous because that generally that does not happen. I mean, I'm from Whitetown, Idaho. I had like 2 black people on my football team. Probably why we lost. But I looked at I would see black people every now and then. I didn't think nothing. They're just my cousin's black.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And you could make the argument that that it was like, what would it be, like the 60s or 70s, probably the 70s when he was being bullied in school. But I feel it's you're pushing a different agenda. It wasn't
agenda
something
that doesn't exist.
It wasn't something that was originally intended in the books.
Well,
and it's
crazy.
Doesn't Harry Potter take place like during World War II or something?
No,
something old.
Around
Narnia
there?
does. So Harry Potter himself is born in 1980.
Okay.
And then the Harry Potter series, when he's going to school, takes place in the 90s.
But then, okay, I guess I could see Snape being about, yeah.
Even
So,
then,
so I'm assuming, like, if Harry was born in the 80s, then his parents probably went to school in, like, the 70s.
But it's also a British thing, and I don't really think that their culture struggled with that as much.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know much about British culture, but I feel like it wasn't as big of a problem there as it was here.
I mean, they did technically get rid of slavery before us, if I'm not mistaken. And I can't remember if France also beat us to the punch. Yeah, we struggled with it for a while. So
yeah,
that's kind of Americanizing a completely different culture, I feel like.
There's also, if you another implication that it kind of, well, not an implication, but it kind of messes with the themes of the story a little bit. Like Voldemort is very much it's almost like it's surprisingly obvious that Voldemort is meant to be Hitler. And
really?
that the Death Eaters are the Nazis.
Interesting.
So Hitler is like he's like a non-Aryan who's pretending that like people are or have more value in their character based on like the color of their skin, the color of their hair, the color of their eyes.
Because he's a hybrid. He's a mix of Muggle and
Voldemort
sorcerer.
is like promoting like pure-blooded wizards are like the most pure, like they're the best wizards and all that, and he hates Muggles and whatnot, but he's half Muggle. So there's that, and then there's also like the Malfoys are supposed to represent like the pure Aryan race.
The white people.
Yeah, because the Malfoys, they have white skin, blue eyes, blonde hair, like, and they're purebloods. And then
so
you
like
have
the Germans.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
But any white privileged person like me, they're supposed to represent me because I'm racist and white privilege, I guess.
I don't think that was the original intention. I don't think J.K. Rowling is kind of liberal. She does have some
Everyone
views
in
that they
England is
disagree
liberal.
with, but I don't think she meant for it to be I don't think she ever meant for a white people are bad kind of thing.
Definitely not.
I think
she was
Potter
specifically I think she was specifically taking inspiration from the Nazis, like the literal Nazis in World War II Germany.
Which isn't surprising because Star Wars did the same thing. There's actually several parallels across culture. It was a huge imprint in the decades to follow. There's so many Disney movies about Hitler and about Nazis.
Yeah.
Which I never knew about until fairly recently. I started seeing some of those movies.
You talking like mimics of Hitler and the Nazis?
No. They just like in the random Disney stories, the really old movies before they were really popular, they had lots of antagonists that were aligned with the Nazi axis. That's like they were either Nazi or they were aligned with the Nazis. It's a crazy amount of movies that they've made that had that as the antagonist. It was crazy. I don't know the titles off the top of my head.
It's kind of because Nazis are kind of seen as the most like
vile,
universally
evil.
hated villains
for sure.
Like there's nobody who's like, but come on. I mean, not nobody. There's probably some people, but most people. But there's not many people who are like, but maybe the Nazis were right. Like
that's changing. Very sadly, so that is changing.
Yeah,
We're going to talk more about that.
But even then, they're not openly.
Has she ever said anything about Hitler? That's a pretty
not about Hitler, but she's definitely anti-Semitic.
Well, that's not what we're talking about.
Right.
Like, there are people saying that Hitler was misunderstood.
Oh.
Like, I came across a post that they were like, he was just a great painter. Like
if he was a great painter, why'd he get kicked out of art school? Whoa!
He was
Yeah.
just a
Maybe
great,
get better at
he was
painting,
just
bro.
he was just a great painter, and then he decided to massacre a bunch of Jews
So
or something.
I'm going to put a plug. This was not anticipated, but when we started talking about this, I'm going to put a plug in for Hitler Ascent, and it's by Volker Ulrich. He's like the Nazi expert.
This is a book.
Yeah. So it talks about, he was born in 1889 and his rise to power up to, 1939, basically. And it's insane. I've got like 15 hours left of the book, but I'm like majority of the way through.
Is it an audiobook?
Well, I am listening to the audiobook.
Where can I buy that?
I'm sure off of Amazon, but
That's expensive. But
yeah,
Yeah.
if you get the audiobook, it's not that badly priced. I don't remember what it would cost, but it's interesting. One of the things you were talking about with being a mixed race, he was talking about how that's actually been heavily debunked. A lot of times people think that he was part Jewish, and that was such a big irony. He said there's actually no evidence that there's any Jewish ancestry in Hitler's, at least pretty immediate relatives. What they did say was that there are some very unscrupulous going-ons about how he was conceived. Some very, I think, I'm trying to remember the details. I'm pretty sure it was like incest, and I think it was also underaged on the mother's part. So
Okay.
that would explain why she thought about abortion and stuff.
I don't think she did.
I think that's just
I didn't hear about that.
I keep hearing about it. I don't know if it's true. I just keep hearing
Read this book. I think this
again,
book will
he's one
dispel so many myths about Hitler. And this is key. He explains this. He's like, we're not going to I'm not going into his, his story and trying to humanize him so that you relate to him and so that you want to model after him. I'm trying to humanize him so that you realize just how evil he was. He's like, I think it will be more condemning when I tell you all of the real and authentic behind the scenes that were going on. And it's been so true. This guy, it's insane. So read up on that.
What's the book called?
Hitler by Volker Ulrich. And his last name is Ullrich.
I could see that because, if you're just looking at the evil actions of a character in media,
Yeah.
then it's easy to just be like, oh, they're evil, and then just write it off.
Yes. And you won't notice when someone else comes along in the future that mimics them.
Yeah. But when you actually figure out more of, why they're doing it, and then you're like, okay. Not that you agree with it, but you're like, I can see how he went down this road, I guess.
Yeah. Well, by the way, it helps you relate to all of the Germans that supported him and followed him. Just so everyone knows, this is kind of getting down into history. Many experts contest what did and didn't cause World War II. In my opinion, I think, from what I've heard from various experts disagreeing on this issue, I think what happened was at the end of World War I, all of Europe blamed Germany for the war, for World War I. And because of that, they said, Germany, you need to foot the bill. They made Germany pay for all of the damages, and it was millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of today's money. So much money that they owed to repay.
Weren't they also not allowed to have an air force or something like that? Or they were restricted in
Yes. And Hitler built up those resources saying that it's for this, but it wasn't. He was absolutely in violation of the Versailles Treaty. But that's the thing, is they put Germany in an awkward position, and what ended up happening was for the next 30-ish years, they were suffering. Their economics just crashed at one point. You know about the is it the franc? I forget their
franc.
I forget their currency that they just, it crashed. It was worthless. There were so many problems that they went through, and what Hitler took advantage of, and actually he did deliver this, but what he took advantage of was prosperity. He said Germany, and sometimes he was lying. Sometimes he was saying Germany is, beaten down, it's, abandoned, all this stuff. Sometimes he was lying. When they were doing well, he was saying this stuff. But the moment that the other shoe dropped and that the country was just screwed, it was devastated, absolutely devastated. There was so much tension, so much anger against outside nations and people. Hitler used that to his advantage and said, I will protect you. I will be your savior. I will deliver you from economic turmoil. And ironically, that's one of the amazing accomplishments he had, was that he did do that. But it was at the expense of freedom and of civil rights and so much grotesque behavior and action that they committed. Absolutely insane. But that is one thing, and that's why it was so popular once it did get popular. By the way, he struggled for it's insane. He struggled for 15 to 20 years to convince the German people that he was the answer. And then eventually it was just, it was a thing, and they absolutely manufactured that support. That's the thing I have become ever so aware of. They absolutely manufactured and influenced that mass support for him, because people were not showing up to his rallies. He was having ever fewer and fewer people as every rally happened. It's crazy. But yet he took control of the government through sly tactics and very motivated people to gain. They just were very motivated for power. So again, I think it's a great holistic perspective on who he was, what he did, why he did it, all the people around him, their journals, their logs, the history, the timeline. And you put it all together and you're like, I understand why that went down. You might even see some parallels to our current day and age. And I would warn people, take those parallels and be awake, be aware, and stop it from ever happening again. This is the whole point of never again.
Yeah, I think a lot of people look at what happened, and they don't really look at what led up to that.
No.
They're just sort of it happened, it was horrible, but they don't really look at the events that led to that happening.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand, the history, you can't prevent it. You can't change it.
No.
It's just going to keep happening again and again. Going back to a little, that was a little bit of a tangent.
Oh yeah, sorry about that, guys.
But going back to the Snape thing, if they're the Nazis and Snape was working for the Nazis, then having a black guy play Snape is a little weird.
Well, it did happen, but in history.
Yeah, but it's I don't know. It just doesn't feel.
Yeah, but Snape also disbanded from the Death Eaters, and he's the only black guy to do it. So that actually means that black people are a lot better than white people.
That's true, and I could see them going that way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want them to do it that
They
way.
will. Who's producing this? What company?
I mean, it's Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers.
It's the same company that did the movies.
Dang, now they're getting corrupted. Frick.
Well,
I mean, they have been.
I mean, look around. Look at all these companies. So, yeah.
I'm
not going to get on that tangent.
I
almost
expected it
started
to be
us
Disney. But
almost started us on a new one.
Some other problems with him as Snape. Snape has a very clear description in the books, and it's definitely one that's meant to be at least a little bit intimidating. So he's described as being tall and thin with a pale white, almost ghostly face, it
Which
says
makes
that,
sense.
And he's got the long dark hair and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and he's got a hooked nose, and
they describe him as oily, right?
yeah, he's got greasy hair.
Yeah.
So he's not very well kept and stuff, but then you look at the actor, and me and my buddy were talking about it, and we came to the realization of why we hate it. So why we hate the actor as Snape so much, it isn't because he's black, it's because he's too hot. He's too good looking. Snape's not supposed to be good looking.
I just looked him up. Yeah, I don't know. He's not a bad looking actor.
You heard it here first, folks. Lincoln thinks that Snape is hot.
The new actor,
Which we
is
support.
He's
We're fine with
a good-looking
that.
actor.
You're still my friend.
And I haven't seen a lot of his work. I saw one movie of his, but he did a really good job in that movie. So he's not a bad actor either. It's just the wrong role.
Yeah.
This isn't the right role for him.
That's a real thing.
There are so many characters he could have played in Harry Potter that I would have been fine with, but this one just doesn't work.
Right. That's such a real thing. You have to match the charisma of the person to the nature of the role.
Mm-hmm. If it was Gilderoy Lockhart, I honestly probably wouldn't mind.
Oh yeah.
It's for Gilderoy Lockhart, yes, he's described as being blonde with a big smile, but as long as you just pick an actor that looks conventionally attractive, it just works.
I bet you. Yeah, that's another thing that people struggle with is they want the main character to get race swapped. So if you race swap a side character, they're like, that's just because you don't want black people to take a main role in the movie. And it's like, honestly, if you want to do this, insert a new character. Make a new character. Like, be creative with it.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. Stop. And people complain about this when they're not supposed to have brown eyes. They're blue eyes, Like, people complain about little minutia.
People were upset because the actor for Harry Potter in the original movies has, like, blue eyes.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
he's supposed to have green eyes in the books, and they were upset about that.
Right. So why would you do that when it's, like, a very big change in someone's appearance?
Or just give them freaking contacts,
here's the other thing.
There's that. They do that a lot.
Here's the other thing. I've come up with my own rules for if you're going to race swap a character.
Your own rules?
My own rules. So the first thing is you have to stay true to the core traits of the character.
Makes sense.
So, like, if it's Snape, like his race doesn't matter too much. His race doesn't really matter. It's the fact that they're making him black for, I think, specifically a certain agenda, and the implications that causes.
It's like a virtue signal. Look, see, we're good. We made someone
black.
black.
If Snape was, like, Asian, I honestly probably wouldn't have a problem with it. If he was, like, if he had, like,
I still don't think that would
if he
work.
looked like Chinese or something, I don't know. I could see it working. I mean, as long as the actor's, like, British, right? But
I guess that would. Could make sense.
But, like, aesthetically, it, like, I don't know. It doesn't really bother me too much. But as long as you have, like, the core traits, like if he has, like, the greasy hair or he has that, like, same intimidating presence. We were talking, I don't know if we mentioned it in the episode, but we were talking about before the episode, Nick Fury. Like, he's got the eye patch, he's got the intimidating presence, he's got, like, everything that you need from Nick Fury.
Not as Snape, but as
not as Snape, but as Nick Fury, because Nick Fury is white in the comics, at least the old ones. They've since changed it to make it more like the movies, but yeah, he's got, like, all of the right traits, and the actor does such a good job that, like, it covers up any other differences.
Yeah, I have
that was the second point, is, like, if you are going to change physical traits of the character, it needs to be for a good reason, and the more you change, the better the acting has to be.
That's a good point.
Like, if you just, like, fully race swap a character from white to black, and then the acting sucks, it's like, well, then you obviously just did that for DEI reasons.
Yeah.
But, like, I think a good example is the Percy Jackson TV show. Like, they have Annabeth Black, which is a way different description of her than in the books. But, like, the character is still the same, and the actress does such an amazing job as Annabeth that I honestly have no problem with it. It was a little bit jarring at first, just because it wasn't what I was used to from reading the books.
Or the movies that they made.
Yep. But those weren't fully accurate to the books either.
Oh, gosh, no.
She had brown hair in that. And,
one of the worst adaptations of a book put to movie in the history.
Yeah, it's
of
not
mankind.
Great. That's one of the reasons why, like, a lot of people used to think adaptations didn't work.
Yeah, because they kept screwing it up.
Same thing with, like, video game adaptations. Like,
those have been good lately.
I know we've been getting some really good ones because we're getting people who actually played the video games. They're growing
that's
up.
Key. That's great.
And that's what you need. You need people who actually care about the source material.
Yeah. You mean like the people that said that if you don't like the Acolyte, then you're not a true Star Wars fan? You like those people, right?
What's the Acolyte?
There's a reason you don't know what it is. We won't get into it.
I am a true Star Wars fan, though.
Here's an example of a bad...
she's crazy. They made episode 3 of season 1 was a whole bunch of lesbian space witches that got together and made an incantation, which allowed them to get pregnant without a man. Like the ultimate feminist.
This happened in Star Wars?
Yeah.
What TV show? Is this canon?
Well, they're trying to canonize it,
canon.
but fans...
It's canon, but there's so much in Star Wars at this point that is just stupid.
Esa basura dentro de Star Wars, bro. Stop.
I knew you said trash can.
I have my own headcanon for Star Wars at this point, and it's a mixture of the old Legends books and the new stuff. Like The Mandalorian, I think, is great and stuff like that.
Yeah, The Mandalorian's
I loved
pretty good.
Ahsoka, but there's just... But, like... The sequel trilogy, I just like ignore that.
Yeah.
The Acolyte, I never finished it. I got 2 episodes in. I saw all this stuff online.
Well, and what's all the common denominator? It's either to do with feminist garbage, which Disney has propagated so much of, or this DEI stuff. I mean, in general, it's DEI.
Speaking of feminist garbage and not respecting the source material or not being a fan of the source material, do we want to talk about Narnia?
Yes, let's do it.
So... If you don't know what Narnia is...
oh my goodness, have you been living under a rock?
It is amazing. They have 3 movies. The first one, Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, is pretty accurate to the books. The other 2 stray a little bit, but they're really good. The books themselves are amazing. They're written by C.S. Lewis, who is like
the GOAT.
He is the GOAT. He's my favorite author right now. I'm reading a bunch of his stuff. Screw Tape Letters, highly recommend it. But basically, it's a fantasy series about these kids in World War II. Or I'll go based off of Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. It's these kids in World War II who stepped through this wardrobe into this fantasy land. Yeah. And it's got all of these like Christian parallels and stuff. It's got a lion that represents Jesus. He sacrifices himself for the sins of somebody else, and he rises like the next day or something, or 3 days later. I don't remember if it's 3 days later or not, but it's meant to be reflective of the Christ story.
Which just for some background, C.S. Lewis, he was born, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, but he was born into a church, and then he fell away and became an atheist.
Yes,
and it was like a passionate atheist, and then J.R.R.
Tolkien, the author of Lord of the Rings,
helped convince him to become a Christian again.
They were really good friends. They would show each other's work.
And then C.S. Lewis just went on to write some of the most amazing Christian works.
Yeah.
Like Mere Christianity. Highly, highly recommend. It's like completely undefiled by denomination.
As much as I love Narnia and as much as I suggest you read Narnia, check out some of his other books too.
Yeah.
If you've already read Narnia and you're a fan of fantasy, maybe check out some of his other stuff. They're not always as fantastical. Some of them are just like pure nonfiction. It's just him talking about it.
Yeah.
But they're still really good. They're really well-written books.
So the changes that have been made to Narnia.
Yes. So it was announced recently, like a year or 2 ago, that Netflix got the rights to Narnia and they're going to be making a TV show.
Oh no! Here we go.
Do you know who they got to be the director and the showrunner of the Narnia show?
Don't say J.J. Abrams.
It's not J.J. Abrams. It's worse.
You will not believe it.
They picked Greta. They picked Greta Gerwig from the director of the Barbie movie.
Oh, mother, father. Sorry.
Again, feminist garbage. That was the whole point of the Barbie movie. Was women don't need men. Men are pointless. The world would be a much better place without children and men. That's literally the argument.
I watched the movie in theaters just because there was so much
without children and men.
There was so much media and stuff out, like people talking about how great it was. So I went and I watched it in theaters. It wasn't, as far as a movie, it wasn't a bad movie. It was somewhat entertaining, but like it just didn't feel right, and then like the messages were just off. But I mean, Greta Gerwig has done some stuff that I've liked. I liked her interpretation of Little Women.
Was that the one with Keira Knightley?
No, it's the one.
Oh no, I'm thinking of Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah. Okay,
never mind.
It's the one. It's the one that has Emma Watson in it. I forget which character she plays, but it has Emma Watson, Timothée Chalamet, Florence Pugh.
Oh snap!
Yeah, it's a stacked cast, and it's not a bad movie either. So she makes well-made movies. It's just that her the themes behind it don't always align with what I believe, or what I like, which is why I was initially worried for Narnia.
Initially worried? Are you not worried?
We'll get to that. Okay. I was initially worried just because like I had seen the Barbie movie. I knew how like extremely feminist she was, and I was like, this is a very Christian story. It's got a lot of very deep like theological like subtext. And I was like, I don't know if this is something that she even cares about.
Is Greta a garbage Christian?
I don't think so. She's not. I don't know if she has a religion right now, but she grew up, I forget what it was called, but it was basically this one church where it's basically all about finding yourself. And it's very inclusive to LGBTQ plus people and whatnot.
Which, listen, inclusivity is not a bad thing. But it gets to a point where
it becomes exclusive.
Well, it becomes exclusive of Christ.
Yes.
You can't. Okay, this is I meant to say this on another episode, so I'm saying it now. But there was a past episode where I was wanting to explain that there's nothing wrong with being gay or being, bisexual, transgender, all these different things. what that is, and when I say that, I mean having those attractions or having those urges is, it's a human thing for some people. Not everyone's experiencing it, but it's part of humanity. And so that's what people start getting behind God created me this way, and he didn't make any mistakes. And it's like, well, yeah, he never makes mistakes. He created all humans with a sexual desire. And guess what? He tells us to control that desire until we are married. And then we only get to partake of it with that person we are married to. So that just because God made you a certain way does not mean that uncontrollable use of the gifts that God has given you, the gift of procreation or other, is acceptable. So it's not to say that you can't be part of our society. What it is to say is, I'm not going to condone choosing to live that way. Just the same as someone that goes out and sleeps with whoever they want to all the time with, one night stands or not, long relationships if they're not married. It's a sin. It's wrong because you're acting on those urges and not controlling those urges and using them in the proper time and place and with the right person. So that's where the issue is. Not having the attraction, not being gay, but living that lifestyle is a sin. And we have to be very clear about that communication. It's not to say we all sin. It's not to say that we hate people that, make a certain kind of sin. It's guess what? Welcome to the club. We are all sinners. Let's continue to work on repenting. Continue to work on growing and recovering from this ailment that affects all of humanity. Let's come closer to Christ. So it gets to the point where it's so inclusive, which sounds like a great thing, which it is until you go and exclude Christ and his doctrine. You no longer are a Christian church.
Yeah, so she grew up a Unitarian Universalist.
Is Unitarian? That's not related to the Church of England, is it?
It says it's a liberal religious tradition that centers on shared principles rather than a single creed, drawing wisdom from many religious and non-religious sources. So
kind of like a non-denominational, even mixing some, what's the word? Non-secular or secularism.
Yeah.
I think that's the word I was looking for. So,
but it just sounds like one of those religions where it's just like we're being purposefully vague so that we can just believe whatever we want. So I don't know. I would have to look into it more. But she's not currently Christian in the sense of like she believes in like Jesus as I don't know.
But what's the rest of your take on Narnia?
Okay, yeah. So she got put in charge of that. And then the first thing I saw that started to make me kind of annoyed at what they were doing is so there's a story called The Magician's Nephew. It's the first book chronologically where it talks about like the creation of the world of Narnia and stuff, and it's like a Genesis story. It's really interesting. Again, highly suggest you read the books. And it's typically set in like the early 1900s because it's this kid named Diggory and his friend Polly. And then when we get to The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which is the one that has like the whole atonement thing in it, that's like set in the 1940s, and there's reasons why it's set there. They're living in London, and the bombs fall, so they're sent away from London, which is a thing that actually happened, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they sent their kids out away from London to keep them safe.
Sense.
So they went to like the English countryside, found this professor who is the kid from the first book, but he had grown up and he was, and he had this wardrobe that connected to Narnia. But what they did, and what I've seen from set photos, which I can throw up on the screen when I'm editing this, they're filming The Magician's Nephew right now, which is the one set in the early 1900s, except they're setting it in the 1950s, which means that pushes Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe down to like the 90s or 2000s. So World War II isn't happening. So I'm just concerned now because I'm like, well, then why are the kids there? Why do they meet the professor? Are they just completely changing the story now? Because World War II is a very big part of the story. I think even in the books following it, Prince Caspian and Voyage to the Dawn Treader, they're like sent to go live with their cousins at one point or something else. Like it's all because of the war going on. And not having that there or are they going to try and find another like world event to build it around and make it more modern and more political for our current environment, which I don't know if I'll like. I don't know.
I feel like they could come up with some fairly simple excuses for
Yeah,
that.
yeah, but it's also part of the aesthetic that I really liked from the old movies was that it was like set in the 1940s and all that, and I really like that aesthetic.
Wasn't there something else you were mentioning that was kind of a concern?
There is one other thing, and this is the biggest thing. This is a rumor, but okay, so going back to the Snape thing. When I initially heard about it, it was just a rumor, and it came from a website called Deadline. It was just a rumor, and I typically write off rumors about castings and stuff because you never know what's real or not. But that one ended up being true. So then when the same website put out a rumor about this other casting, I got really worried because I could see them doing this, especially Greta Gerwig. The rumor is that they were in talks to cast a particular actor as Aslan. Mm-hmm. That actor is Meryl Streep. It's a chick. Yeah.
Which goes in line with God as a woman. That's been a very popular trend. Again, we're living in a very feministic culture right now.
Like, what's her name? Cynthia Erivo, the girl who plays Elphaba in Wicked. She played Jesus Christ in Jesus Christ Superstar on stage.
Well, the moment you give that title, I lost all respect for the movie.
So we can see that,
no kidding.
Yeah.
Greta Gringo would do something like that.
But we could see that like, that's not something people are against doing, especially since this isn't explicitly Jesus, even though like it is explicitly it's Jesus. A symbol of Jesus, and they kind of confirm in the later books that he is Jesus. He says like, you know me, or like he says something like, I'm known by another name in your world, or something like that. Yeah. So it is the Jesus, and if that's the case, then if you make him a woman, then you're just
what are you doing?
Spitting on the face of Christianity.
Well, and then they're either gonna keep the lion's mane. And then it's gonna be like, that's not a female lion.
Yeah, it's just gonna be a lion with a female voice,
which is not weird. As intimidating. Yeah. I understand that in the Lion Kingdom, the lionesses are the ones that are actually the ones you gotta be worried about
because they're a mom.
They are like really dangerous, really deadly.
Same reason you don't mess with a bear's cubs, because it's the mom. It's a mother.
But the imagery behind the lion's mane is part of the reason that they have a mane, I'm sure, is to make them look really big and intimidating. Mm-hmm. It's just a dominating presence.
It's like I haven't seen it yet, but I can just imagine like a trailer for Narnia comes out and you just see Aslan and he doesn't have the mane. It would look so lame. It would look so stupid. Like it would not be as impressive. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of that. And again, like same thing with the Snape actor and with Meryl Streep. I think Meryl Streep is a great actress. I love a lot of her stuff. But Aslan's not the right pick for her. It just doesn't work. So
it's back to that thing you were saying where we can have these amazing actors, but they have to fit the role.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just, I don't know.
And you can really see where it goes wrong when they're trying to fit an agenda or something like that.
This Greta girl, I'm interested to see what she does with this, because already she's ticking me off. I love the stories so much that I don't feel this way about the Harry Potter one. I'm still willing to check it out, see if it still has value for me as a fan. But for the Narnia one, they've changed so much, from changing the setting to changing the characters. If they are changing the Aslan to be Meryl Streep, it's changing so much that like I don't even know if I want it. I might not even watch it. I'm not watching that.
Hey, that's been my policy as of late. I don't watch anything from Disney. I have not since Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
Like what? Again,
and I respect that, but at the same time, I'm such a big fan of these fandoms.
Like new?
Any of the new Disney movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I also don't pay money to go watch any of the traditional stuff. Like I don't have Disney Plus. So anything that we watch that's Disney is on CD that's already been bought from like DI.
Yeah, and I get that and I respect that, but I'm also such a big fan of like Marvel and Star Wars and stuff that like I like to keep up with it. And even if they do things that disappoint me, I stick along with it.
Yeah.
But like there's a point where you go too far.
Yeah.
And it looks like they might be doing that with Narnia.
They hit my line.
I'm hoping they don't cast her as Aslan. I'm hoping they pick somebody good for Aslan. And I'm hoping that they stay true to the themes, but I don't think they will.
Yeah. It's just a lot to expect these days. No, I've been disappointed many times. There's been some good movies, by the way. I really liked the Transformers movie that came out. And technically Disney...
The Rise of the Beasts?
No.
Which
Transformers 1.
Oh, I didn't see that one. I've heard it was good.
It was funny. Like, good, relaxing movie. Just traditional humor.
There are good movies that have been coming out. I really liked the Superman movie. I really liked Thunderbolts that came out this year.
I heard that was good.
It was really good. But like, especially with Marvel, it feels kind of like a toxic relationship where like they release all these bad movies and then they're like, but wait, here's a really good one. And they're just like keeping me in.
Yeah. They need to slow down.
That's called Stockholm Syndrome, by the way.
I would prefer if they just went down the drain and I just left. But
that
they keep pulling me back
analogy.
in.
It's literally what it is.
It is
100%.
But I mean, I love the stories, at least what they did in the past. So I feel like a loyalty to it that I probably shouldn't. But yeah.
I still like Star Wars, even though they had 2 chicks kiss in that one movie.
Yeah, I just write off. I even am fine with 7. I know a lot of people had a problem with that, and I get there's problems with how they built Rey. But honestly, I think 7 is where it ends for me. 8 was garbage.
Yeah.
The only thing, there's literally a scene where she's like, they all get off the animals, and then they're like, all right, now we're free. And then this one chick's like, not all of us, and then lets the animals go. Now we are. And it's like such a dumb virtue statement. Give me a break. No contribution. It's not like it's a continuous arc building thing in her character. No, it's just this random throwaway
Disney
scene.
throwing in their BS.
Yeah. Now, I will say the only salvageable thing from movie 8, especially since it wrecked the love relationship with Rey, like an absolute chaotic mess. But the one thing that was really redeeming was the end scene when they totally obliterate the supremacy, which, by the way, there's theories that that's supposed to be the white supremacy. So, of course, the feminist purple hair lady takes down supremacy. Wow. That's really awesome.
I haven't seen that movie for a while. What's that scene?
She basically turns. Well, the supremacy is
so it's the bad guys. It's the First Order.
Is it Snoke?
The ship? Yeah, Snoke's ship is called the Supremacy. She basically
it's
evacuates everybody off of the ship, points her ship at their ship, and then hits the hyperdrive. And
this is after she kills Snoke.
No, she doesn't kill him.
He was already dead on that ship because they killed him early in the movie.
But this is how she takes down the ship, and it stops the whole fleet from killing the rest of the rebels.
But then
it was an incredibly artistic, just like jaw-dropping scene. Such stunning work.
I'm gonna not get started on this because if we start talking about Star Wars, I'm gonna talk for like hours. Yeah. I think we're at the end of our time.
But I'm just already. We'll have you on in the future. We'll talk Star Wars.
Let's keep saying bad things about Greta girl. What's her name?
Greta Gerwig.
Gerwig.
I kind of want to see some of her old stuff. I don't know if she was as political back then. I'm curious.
No one was as political back then.
I've heard Lady Bird was good.
Listen. Can I just propose a really, really radical idea?
I don't know. Is it racist?
Some are going to call it that.
We have to appeal to people's safe zones and their triggeredness. We can't make anybody upset.
So
go for it.
So, I guess trigger warning. But I think that people should just cast based on, wait for it, how good someone is at acting.
No.
And how they fit the role.
Have to be.
Yeah, and how they fit
They have
the
to be
role.
black.
It can't just be
they
one.
They have to be gay. They have to have purple hair.
Put a chick in it. Make it gay.
Because I'm at the point. Just to bring this all to a close, I'm at a point where I'm not against race swapping characters as long as it fits the role.
Yes, exactly.
I'm with you.
But the actor for Snape, he doesn't fit the role.
If it fits the role and they're a great actor,
the actress for or allegedly the actress for Aslan does definitely not fit the role.
Yeah.
So stick with characters who are great at acting, who don't have a physical appearance that distracts from the story, like Annabeth in the Percy Jackson show.
Yeah.
Like Hermione in the new Harry Potter show. I think they picked a pretty good actress. She actually voices Hermione. They just released these full cast versions of the Harry Potter audiobooks, and she plays Hermione in that. She does a great job. So I'm excited to see her as Hermione. And Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson is Nick Fury. That's
Great
probably
example.
the best race swap
that's
ever done.
amazing.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
That was legendary.
Yeah.
Nick
so
Fury is
I'm not against
awesome.
race swaps. I'm just it just has to fit.
Yes. So if it's a great actor or they're pretty good and it fits the role, I don't care what they look like. I really don't.
And the more you change them, the better the acting has to be. Another minor example, this isn't a race swap thing, but Wolverine in the comics is like a short guy. And they casted Hugh Jackman, who's like over 6 foot or something.
Is he really?
Yes, but he plays the character so well that like nobody cares. He like nobody would imagine anybody else as Wolverine.
I think it'd be really weird if they actually made him really short. Haven't they done things to try to make him look shorter?
I don't know. I know in the third Deadpool movie they have like they CGI him to make it like
Do they?
like an alternate universe version of him is like super short.
That's hilarious. That's funny. I don't watch Deadpool, but
I'd love to see Peter Dinklage as Wolverine.
But yeah, if I could say something to close it out, Peter Dinklage, that'd be awesome.
He'd be an amazing
He'd be
Wolverine.
too short, but I'd be down for that. But if I had to say one thing to close it out, if you're making an adaptation, try to understand the source material. Try to care about it.
Rip the Giver.
For number one. Number two, try to pick the person that best fits the role. If you have to make sacrifices in terms of the appearance to make them look different, then that's fine. But don't change the appearance specifically for some sort of agenda. Last thing, read Chronicles of Narnia. Read anything by C.S. Lewis. That guy's awesome.
Amen.
But
Well, that's the show for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in. It was a great discussion with our editor and producer. He's done a great job. Let us know if you have any feedback about this discussion. We'll be sure to include your comments and our answers in the next episode. Take care, guys.